Back in 1935, U.S. General Billy Mitchell, often celebrated as the father of the U.S. Air Force, delivered a statement to Congress that was nothing short of visionary. He declared, "I believe that in the future, whoever holds Alaska will hold the world." At the time, his words seemed almost fantastical, as Alaska was seen as a distant, frozen frontier. Yet today, Alaska, especially Anchorage, has proven to be a strategically vital asset for the U.S., both economically and militarily. So, without any delay, let's jump straight into today's topic: why Anchorage, Alaska, has quietly become one of America's most strategically vital cities. To fully appreciate how Alaska transformed from a frozen wasteland to a global powerhouse, we need to travel back to 1867. That's when the Russian Empire, eager to unload a costly and hard-to-defend territory, sold Alaska to the United States for a mere $7.2 million. The deal was mocked and ridiculed across America. Critics dubbed it Seward's Folly, after Secretary of State William Seward, who orchestrated the purchase. To many, it seemed like the U.S. had just bought itself a giant block of ice. In today's dollars, that $7.2 million would be roughly $111 million, a drop in the bucket for modern billionaires. To put it in perspective, someone like Elon Musk could purchase Alaska over and over again at that price, which shows just how underestimated this land was. For decades, Alaska's image as an empty, barren wilderness persisted. Even after it became a state in 1959, its population was barely over 200,000, spread across a massive land area larger than Texas, California, and Montana combined. The state's isolation and harsh climate kept settlers away, and even today, Alaska's population remains sparse, with around 730,000 residents, nearly 40% of whom live in Anchorage. Yet despite its small population, Anchorage has transformed into a city with immense strategic value. But how did this happen? The story of Anchorage's rise to strategic prominence is one of technological breakthroughs and shifting global dynamics, particularly during the 20th century. Before the Cold War, Anchorage was little more than a remote outpost, far removed from global trade routes and centers of power. However, with the advent of aviation, everything changed. As aircraft technology advanced, Anchorage's location sitting almost at the top of the globe became a critical asset. The quickest flight paths between Europe and East Asia run over the North Pole. But during the Cold War, the Soviet Union's refusal to allow Western airlines to cross its airspace forced airlines to chart new courses. This is where Anchorage's true strategic value became apparent. By flying over the Arctic and avoiding Soviet airspace, airlines could still connect Europe and East Asia, but they needed a place to refuel. Anchorage, perfectly positioned almost halfway between these two regions, became the ideal stopover. This geographic advantage turned Anchorage into a bustling hub for international air traffic, earning it the nickname Crossroads of the World. At its peak, you could find flights from Paris, Tokyo, New York, Sao Paulo, all converging in Anchorage, making it one of the busiest airports globally. But like all golden eras, this one didn't last forever. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, several key developments drastically reduced Anchorage's role as a passenger hub. In 1989, as the Soviet Union teetered on the edge of collapse, it finally opened its airspace to Western airlines. At the same time, aircraft technology had advanced to the point where planes could now fly nonstop between Europe and East Asia. Suddenly, airlines no longer needed to stop in Anchorage, and the city's importance as a refueling hub quickly declined. By 1991, major airlines like Japan Airlines, Lufthansa, Air France, and British Airways had ceased their Anchorage layovers. Today, Anchorage is left with only 2 direct international passenger flights, and even those are seasonal. But Anchorage's strategic relevance didn't disappear. It simply transformed. While passenger airlines shifted their routes, cargo carriers quickly recognized the enduring importance of Anchorage's location. In the world of air freight, airlines are constantly balancing a critical decision: whether to carry more fuel to extend their range or to carry more cargo to maximize profits. Anchorage's unique geographical position allows cargo airlines to strike the perfect balance between these competing priorities. By stopping in Anchorage to refuel, cargo planes can maximize their payloads, enabling them to carry more goods while still covering vast distances. This refueling strategy significantly boosts profitability, making Anchorage an essential hub for global cargo operations. Today, Anchorage's Ted Stevens International Airport ranks as one of the busiest in the world for cargo traffic, solidifying the city's role as a linchpin in international trade and demonstrating its ongoing strategic importance to the global economy. Anchorage is within a 9.5-hour flight of nearly 90% of the industrialized world. That includes major cities like New York, Tokyo, London, Frankfurt, Beijing, and Moscow. No other major airport on Earth can claim such proximity to so many key global markets. This makes Anchorage an essential hub for major air freight carriers like FedEx and UPS, both of which operate large international shipping centers in the city. As a result, Anchorage has become the fourth busiest airport in the world by cargo traffic and the second busiest in the United States, with nearly 500 wide-body cargo plane landings each week. The importance of Anchorage as a cargo hub became especially clear during the COVID-19 pandemic. While passenger air traffic plummeted by over 90% worldwide, cargo flights remained steady, even becoming more critical. On April 25, 2020, Anchorage briefly became the busiest airport in the world, handling more cargo flights than any other airport during that period. This underscored not just the resilience of air cargo operations, but also Anchorage's irreplaceable role in global supply chains. Looking to the future, Anchorage's strategic significance is set to increase, driven by changing dynamics in the Arctic. The Arctic region is warming faster than almost any other part of the planet, leading to the melting of polar ice and opening up new global trade routes. By the 2040s, the Arctic is expected to be largely ice-free during the summer months, creating new shipping lanes between Asia and Europe. These routes could slash time and costs off current shipping paths through the Suez Canal, making them incredibly attractive to global shipping companies. Beyond new trade routes, the Arctic is believed to hold vast reserves of untapped resources. Estimates suggest the region contains about 13% of the world's undiscovered oil and 30% of its undiscovered natural gas. The Arctic is also rich in fisheries, minerals, and other valuable resources. As these resources become accessible, the Arctic is likely to become a new arena for geopolitical competition, with major powers like the United States, Russia, and China vying for influence. Alaska's proximity to the Arctic makes it a critical player in this emerging geopolitical landscape. Anchorage, closer to the Arctic than any other major American city, will be pivotal for the United States in projecting power and securing its interests in the region. However, for the U.S. to fully capitalize on these opportunities, significant investments in Alaska's infrastructure are necessary. Despite its strategic importance, much of Alaska remains undeveloped, with few roads, railways, or airstrips. Anchorage is connected to the rest of Alaska and North America by only a single road, and less than one-third of the state is connected to the national power grid. Improving Alaska's infrastructure isn't just about economic development. It's a matter of national security. The Arctic is rapidly becoming a new battleground for great power competition. The shortest route for intercontinental ballistic missiles from Russia or China to the United States is over the Arctic, making it crucial for the U.S. to defend its northern flank. Anchorage, as the largest city in Alaska and a key logistical hub, will be essential in organizing that defense. In the end, what was once mocked as a frozen wasteland has evolved into one of the most strategically important regions on the planet. Anchorage, Alaska, may no longer be the bustling international passenger hub it once was, but its significance as a cargo powerhouse and its proximity to the Arctic have made it a cornerstone of America's strategy in the 21st century. As General Billy Mitchell predicted nearly a century ago, Alaska's importance to America, and indeed the world, will only continue to grow in the decades to come. Anchorage's strategic value, rooted in its unique geographic location, will ensure it remains a critical asset for the United States as it navigates the challenges and opportunities of an increasingly interconnected and competitive world. What's your take on Anchorage's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this exploration, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay updated on more fascinating content. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more insights into the world's hidden powerhouses.